Welcome to English Insight Podcast. Learn English through story and real growth. In today's video, you're not just learning English. You're about to fix one mistake that silently destroys progress for millions of learners around the world. A mistake so common that almost everyone does it, and almost no one questions it. Whether you're a beginner or somewhere in between, this episode is carefully designed to change not only how you learn English, but how your brain works with language. Put on your headphones, maybe open a notebook, and get ready. By the end of this session, you will have learned more than 10 natural English expressions, understood a powerful real-life learning shift, and felt a deep sense of clarity about why English has felt so hard, and how it can finally become easier. Ready? Let's begin. Let me ask you something important, and answer honestly. When you hear an English sentence, what's the first thing your mind does? If your answer is, I translate it into my language, then this video is exactly what you clicked for. Because translation feels safe. It feels logical. It feels like learning. But it's quietly holding you back. Think about this. When you speak your native language, do you translate first? Of course not. Meaning appears instantly. Emotion appears instantly. Response appears instantly. So why does English feel slow, heavy, stressful? Because every time you translate, your brain takes a long detour. English your language meaning response English again. That's exhausting. And here's the part nobody tells you in school. Translation is not a bridge to fluency. It's a temporary crutch that becomes a permanent cage. At the beginning, translation helps you survive. But if you don't stop using it, it prevents growth. Let me tell you a real story. There was a student named Amir. He studied English for years. Grammar books, vocabulary lists, exams. He could translate almost anything. But when someone spoke to him in real life, his mind froze. He understood the words, but too late. The conversation moved on without him. One day, Amir said something very honest. I understand English, but I don't feel it. That sentence changes everything. Because language is not about understanding words. It's about understanding situations. Native speakers don't hear words first. They hear intention, tone, emotion, context. When someone says, "Oh, great," natives instantly know if it's real or sarcastic. No translation needed. But learners who translate miss that layer completely. Now here's a powerful question. What if your English isn't weak, but your method is? Schools teach you to translate because it's easy to test. Real life doesn't care about tests. Real life cares about reaction speed. This is why you can read English well, but struggle to speak. Reading allows time. Speaking demands instinct. And instinct is destroyed by translation. Let's be clear. I'm not saying translation is evil. I'm saying it has an expiration date. If you keep translating at an intermediate level, You trap yourself between languages. And that's the most uncomfortable place to be. Not a beginner. Not fluent. Just stuck. So what do native-like speakers do instead? They connect English directly to meaning, not to another language. For example, when a native hears I'm running late, they don't picture words. They picture a situation, time pressure, movement, apology. No dictionary appears in their head. And here's the secret move most learners never practice. They stop asking, what does this mean in my language? They start asking, when do people say this? That one question changes everything. Because now English becomes behavior, not translation. Now let me challenge you gently. When you learn a new phrase, do you write a translation, or do you imagine a scene? One creates memory. The other creates delay. Your brain remembers images and emotions faster than words. This is why children learn languages effortlessly, not because they're smarter, but because they never translate. They connect sound to experience. You can do the same at any age. But you must let go of control. And yes, that feels uncomfortable. Because translation gives the illusion of certainty. Meaning-based learning gives real understanding. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you want to speak faster, you must accept understanding less perfectly at first. Fluency is not accuracy. Fluency is flow. And flow only comes when you stop interrupting your brain with translation. In the next part of this episode, we'll go deeper into what you should do instead of translating, how to retrain your brain step by step, and how real learners made this shift and suddenly felt English become lighter, faster, and more natural. Stay with me, because what comes next is the turning point. Now let's talk about what happens the moment you stop translating, because this is where things finally begin to change. At first, it feels uncomfortable, almost scary. Your brain reaches for your native language automatically, and when it can't find it, there's a short silence. Many learners think that silence means failure. It doesn't. That silence is your brain building a new path. Every time you resist translation, you're training your mind to connect English directly to meaning. Not perfectly. Not instantly. But honestly. This is why so many learners say, I understand English, but I can't respond quickly. It's not a confidence problem. It's a processing problem. Let me give you a simple example. When someone says, "What's up?" beginners translate it word by word and get confused. Intermediate learners translate it to "How are you?" Advanced learners don't translate at all. They respond with energy. Not much. Just working. All good. They've learned the reaction, not the definition. That's the shift. Now here's a powerful technique that changes everything, and it sounds almost too simple. Instead of translating sentences, collect responses. When you hear a phrase, don't ask, "What does this mean?" Ask, "What do people usually say back?" Language is a game of patterns. If someone says, "Long time no see," the response isn't translation. It's connection. "Yeah, it's been a while." Right? Feels like forever. Once you start learning responses, conversations stop feeling like exams and start feeling like flow. Another real story. There was a man named Daniel who watched English podcasts every day. For months, nothing changed. Then he did one small thing. He stopped subtitles. Not all English, just subtitles in his native language. At first, he panicked. He understood less. But after 2 weeks, something strange happened. He stopped translating. He started predicting. He didn't hear every word, but he knew what was coming next. That's real comprehension. Prediction is a sign of fluency. Your brain can only predict when it understands meaning directly, not through translation. And here's another truth schools never tell you. You don't need to understand every word to understand a message. Native speakers don't. They miss words all the time. They rely on context. So when learners say, "I must understand everything," they're creating unnecessary pressure. Pressure slows learning. Curiosity accelerates it. So instead of forcing understanding, allow approximation. I didn't catch everything, but I get the idea. That mindset unlocks speed. Now let's talk about speaking, because this is where translation hurts the most. When you translate before speaking, you speak late. When you speak late, confidence drops. When confidence drops, you speak less. It's a vicious cycle. The way out is thinking in chunks. Instead of creating sentences, reuse patterns. "I'm not sure, but..." What I mean is, the thing is, these are thinking tools. They buy you time. They sound natural. And they reduce mental load. Native speakers use them constantly. Fluency is not fast thinking. Fluency is smart stalling. And here's the most important habit you can build starting today. Narrate your life in English, but simply. No translation. No perfection. "I'm making coffee. I'm tired today. I should reply later." This isn't practice. This is rewiring. 5 minutes a day is enough. Your brain doesn't need hours. It needs consistency. Now let me ask you something honestly. How many times have you said, "I'll start thinking in English when I'm advanced"? That day never comes. You think in English to become advanced. So stop waiting. The moment you allow English to exist in your mind without translation, it stops being foreign. It becomes familiar. And familiarity is the foundation of confidence. Before we close, here's one last truth. You will never sound natural by trying to be correct. You sound natural by being responsive. Language lives in interaction, not in rules. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, notice when you translate and gently stop. Replace translation with curiosity. What's happening here? What's the feeling? What would I say back? That's how English becomes automatic. And if this episode helped you see English differently, stay with us. Subscribe to English Insight Podcast. Share this with someone who's tired of translating and still not fluent. And tell us in the comments what phrase you're going to start using today. Because fluency doesn't start with more study. It starts with one decision.